Oh, better get your reading glasses on for this one.
Do me a favor. You read this to me?
And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben, and this is my spoiler review, kind of breaking down the episode of Lovecraft Country, episode 6. It's the brand new episode that's just come out. And I have to say thank you to my brother for telling me to watch this series. A young African-American travels across the US in the 1950s in search of his missing father. And so I heard about this series coming out, and although I do love all like Lovecraftian monsters things, when I saw the trailer, I wasn't particularly one of those that wanted to jump in and go straight into watching it. I have to watch it all the time. I kind of just left it for a bit. I'm kind of kicking myself now, although I'm not, because I got to watch a batch on Sunday with Kay, and after my brother saying, you got to watch this, it's so good. And I think the first episode, the first half, kind of, it tells you that it's a reflection of society, of, those kind of sundown towns, and it starts putting you in the understanding of what this is. So you have the Lovecraftian lore and the stories, and yet we've also got that reflection of society with racism and all of that, and it kind of has this amalgamation mash, and that's what you get. And what it turns out to be is something that's really interesting, really intriguing, and so those were the first 5 episodes, and so I'm here to talk about episode 6. So, in the same vein of going Game of Thrones, there are some episodes that are very sexual, and this one I have to think, of all the episodes I've seen so far, has been the most graphic sexually. There was a lot of sex in this, and also I was like, wait, is this Naruto? Because obviously the whole episode is kind of a filler episode. We get to find that backstory of who this woman, our main protagonist, is talking to the whole time on the phone. He's like, well, how did you know? I think that's literally how the episode 5 ends. How did you know? And so obviously we get this whole backstory of this love story, basically, of we have a monster in a human skin, basically a 9-tailed monster like Naruto. And then we have our protagonist who is there for the war. It starts in 1949. We see this whole backstory of how she is a nurse, how she has come to be in the skin that she's wearing, and what her job is, that her mother wants to get her daughter back, and the way she has to do that is she has to kill 100 men, absorb their souls, and so we get those sex scenes, and then we get the, whoa, this is the Lovecraftian moment. There's also a lot of subtitles, and I feel like this is going to be the episode that splits audiences most of all. This is going to be the one. There's normally an episode in a lot of TV series that are very high profile that people talk about. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy that one. There was for the latest Stranger Things when it did its kind of own thing. And so I feel like it's going to be that one. Mostly because there are a lot of people that don't enjoy reading subtitles. And there's a large majority of this episode that is in subtitles. I don't mind it. I watch all sorts of world cinema and anime, and you have to kind of watch in the original language. Because I don't think dubbing does it justice. So I think that was fine. Then you also have the fact that the whole episode is this relationship and how they came to have a relationship. And you kind of start getting a little bit into the lore. I particularly love the last few minutes of this episode where you get to see the Jinjuriki. The mud dung, I guess you would call it a witch doctor of sorts that summoned this monster into this woman's daughter. And so we get to see her have focus of this fox. There's this mesmerizing moment. And then this woman calls the petals. She's obviously talking to nature, and she's answering the question that she had. You are going to see a lot more death before your journey is done. And so I'm hoping that we're going to see her character actually come to America and have more interaction, because it would be very disappointing if that is all we saw. I can't imagine that you would set up this very interesting, cool character. You're giving emotions to a monster. When you make the audience like a monster, like she is, obviously, she has all her tails, then you're building up to something. So I definitely think we're going to get more of her in the latter episodes. And you kind of feel for her character as well, because if she supposedly absorbs this 100 soul, I guess she's going to disappear and the daughter will come back. But I kind of like her as this character. I love the creations that we've seen so far, the Lovecraftian creations. You know, we've seen right at the beginning of the episode 1, we saw the crazy world like that it was dreaming of. We've also seen that there are other very interesting supernatural events, not just the monsters, but you know, there's spirits. We've seen the dog kind of monsters. We've seen the wizards, you know, messing with timey-wimey stuff, trying to go back to Eden and become immortal. And now we have an inkling that our main protagonist had something done to him. There was something that he doesn't remember, or that is going to happen in the future, because I think it might have been the future memory, saying that's why she told him, don't go back home. And so we finally have that whole question answered in this very sexual episode, in this love story episode during the war. Again, it is quite gory. It's probably one of the most goriest series I've seen so far, especially earlier episodes with the shapeshifter, you know, changing. I think it's Rose changing her form now from being, you know, whatever color she wants to be. I love the kind of the politics, the demographics that it's talking about and showing about, the cultural references that is referenced to us now, but also having all that kind of really gory storyline. I think it's a very interesting way to obviously tell the story. So we have Jordan Peele and J.J. Abrams, whose minds have come together to create something that's very interesting, very unique. I'm surprised at how interested I am in this. It's the suspense of not knowing that keeps you wanting to come back for more. Apart from the phenomenal acting, because I do think the acting is top notch, and I've loved all of the protagonists that we have, especially the main three. I think, like I said, I think this episode is going to split audiences. Although I do love the kind of the answer, the sort of answers to the questions that we get. We understand who this woman is now, who this monster is now. We understand why she said don't go home, kind of because she saw his death. So does that mean he's actually going to die, or is that just like timey-wimey stuff where the future is not set? Very interesting episode. Not a lot happened essentially, apart from them forming this relationship, understanding where that comes from. It does feel like a filler episode, although it's an essential filler episode. So chat to me in the comments below. What did you think of this episode? Should I keep doing review breakdowns of these episodes? Did you enjoy them? Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember, a long Tuesday.